into a place where they're threatening violence if we don't let them replace civil servants with lackeys?
Well, I would say, Joy, that it's basically been taken over by con men and frauds. There are always those kinds of people around who are using conservative ideology and actually, paranoia and often hate even to draw people in to right-wing movements. But mostly it's now become kind of a swindle, a con game, a way to fleece those followers out of their money. You see this all the way up to the top with Trump, who is the epitome of that kind of politics. And when Trump tells a blatant lie like, I don't know anything about Project 2025, his press secretary did a recruiting video for it last year, Caroline Levitt.
Yeah.
And you can see it online. So, sometimes I think we need to sort of hook Donald Trump up to a permanent polygraph, like an IV, so you could see, in graphic terms when he's lying, because this is how they operate. And he is the past master of it. I mean, this is how we got here. His lies, the success in sort of training people on the right, those voters, to believe all kinds of stuff that's not true, and to turn over their money as they do it, to be willingly, ripped off by committees, causes, candidates, and Trump is the master of that too. He used the election, the 2020 election, which he lied about constantly, to get people to send him money. $250 million in 2 months. It was, historic.
Maya, that is an excellent point, because you've got, like, even Stephen Miller has created his own version of what he calls a civil rights group, that all they do is raise lots of money. He's got all these videos on social media getting people to send him money so that he can sue anybody who does anything for anybody black and say that, he's like a whites rights activist, and that it's very lucrative. And yet, they when they find out how unpopular the ideas are to the general public outside their bubble, they run from it. Donald Trump is claiming he doesn't know about Project 2025. I want to put on the screen Agenda 47, which is the official platform of Donald Trump's campaign. It's exactly the same. Dismantle the federal government, dismantle the administrative state, reform the DOJ, overhaul the DOJ, abolish newly existing diversity, equity, inclusion, remove all diversity, equity, inclusion. Like, it's literally the same thing, Maya, but he thinks that people are dumb enough to think if he just says he doesn't know what it is, they'll believe him.
Well, what's interesting to me about Donald Trump trying to distance himself from his own platform, because even when people didn't know what Project 2025 was, he was saying all these things out loud as part of what he was running on. And I just think we should remember, and it's really important to remember, this is the same Donald Trump who's now suggesting he wasn't necessarily anti-abortion when his entire platform, this goes to Joe's point, but his entire platform was he was going to overturn Roe v. Wade, and in fact followed the Federalist Society blueprint on judges. About half of his judges were Federalist Society. It was the same thing, including the Supreme Court justices that are ignoring decades of precedent to drive ideology, including presidential immunity. All of this is a playbook. It always has been for some. And I just want to underscore one point that Joe made, because I do think it's a really important one. There was a time, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 had 73 senators vote for it. There were Republicans voting for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. We struggled to get one vote for Voting Rights Act in 2021. There is something that has changed, and it is wrong for the country, and it demonstrates an ideology over just sensible policy making.
Yeah, I would say, Joy,